Update. Am I the a-hole for not wanting husband to be directly involved in nursing of his kidney patient ex? Original post. So I am 35 female and my husband is 39 male. We have been married for 5 years. Before marrying me, he was with his high school sweetheart for a decade. Apparently, they had compatibility issues and then lost contact. Now his ex has kidney failure and is on dialysis. She has come to our city for treatment and, according to my husband, she contacted him through a mutual friend. Now my husband wants to help her. Very politely, I asked my husband, doesn't she have her own people to help and nurse her? Why contact him all of a sudden after years? My husband was pissed and said, how can you be so petty and immature regarding a patient? He told me he expected better from me. Then I said, if the situation is so dire, then let's get her a place in our flat in another locality. And if he is so adamant, then we can finance her nursing facility. What is the need to get personally involved like a nurse? I told him I don't want to be personally involved in nursing his ex or in her medical recovery process, nor do I want to go see her in the hospital with him. My husband said he is disappointed in me for showing jealousy over a long-ended relationship, and that I cannot show maturity even toward a patient. So, am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments before reading the updates. Not the a-hole. This is not jealousy. It sounds like he wants to be the hero and take her in, but do none of the actual work. Also, it's inappropriate. This is his ex, and they don't even know each other anymore. I would die on this hill. If he brings her to your home against your will, you should leave to stay with family or friends. I bet he gets a nurse or gets her out real quick when he has to do the caretaking. And the fact he just decided this, expecting OP to take on this kind of work, is crazy of him. Stand your ground. OP, you're going to be fine if you do. Exactly. He said this with a poker face, that he would want me to nurse her. Like what? I don't know if I recognize my husband anymore. I dated this man for 4 years, have been married for 5, have 2 little 3-year-olds, and he's angry with me for not wanting to see his ex in the hospital or nurse her. Caring is one thing, and caretaking quite another. Once he starts to help, it is quite possible that her needs will increase. It is also important to consider that her condition may be long-lasting. Not the a-hole. I feel the ex is trying to find a kidney donor. Not really. She has a donor. And if she wished, she could have got some other shelter, but I don't know why she had to come in my life. She may want him back and vice versa. You'd be the third wheel in your own home and marriage. Now for the first update. I tried to have another conversation with my husband, and my parents are soon visiting my house, but I don't think we've made any progress. I talked pretty politely, saying that it is very unfair to me and my boys. I have 2 3-year-old twins, that he is willing to be an emotional support tool to an ex, and is so hell-bent on being at her side. Caring about acquaintance is a different thing, but offering things like being an emotional support tool or caretaker should be exclusive to one's spouse. Extending that kind of emotional intimacy to any third party, even if it's a platonic female friend, lays the foundation for an emotional affair, let alone offering it to an ex. He told me that it is tragic that I don't trust him even after being together for 9 years, and that I'm accusing him of having an affair. He said it's natural for people to care about their loved ones and acquaintances, especially when they are sick, and that being an emotional support tool or caretaker, and being by someone's side, is the bare minimum one can do. He said it doesn't automatically translate into an emotional affair, and that it's sad I'm so narrow-minded that I'm taking offense at him being personally involved with his ex. According to him, I should have volunteered to help his ex, visited her, consoled her, and shown some empathy instead of being insecure. I said, I'm not negating the fact that we should help a sick person. We can get nurses and doctors involved and assist financially, but you offering emotional intimacy to her does not sit right with me. He once again said that tossing just money to a sick person is cold-hearted on his part, and that a patient needs to see that people are available for her. To that, I replied, I am not obliged to be available for her, nor are you. Nobody will blame you for not taking responsibility for your ex's life troubles. He cut me off in the middle and said what a selfish take that was, and how he would be selfish if he didn't respond properly to a person asking for help. Clive, one of my twins, woke up, and our conversation ended. I don't see this ending well at all. Me too. I can sense myself getting divorced. Sadly, I think that's where your marriage is headed. Best to begin seeking legal counsel to figure out what your options are, especially since there are children involved. What freaking hurts is the gaslighting and guilt tripping, like he's making me out to be the villain. I'm so sorry. Your marriage has already ended, and all that's left is the paperwork and court decree. What your soon-to-be ex expects you to accept is an intrusion into your marriage so deep that there's no rationalizing it whatsoever. It's pretty transparent and quite obvious to everyone that he has chosen this woman over his family. There's no getting around it. Start getting all your finances arranged so he cannot spend money that should be family money on this woman. Get all your ducks in a tidy row and contract with a good divorce lawyer. Take every cent and asset you can wring out of him while he continues to try and gaslight you about this situation. What's funny is that my house is entirely my property, not a joint asset, and he had the audacity to suggest he will move his ex in. A handful of our finances are entangled, like health insurance and investments, that I am disentangling. Meanwhile, I will give my marriage one last chance. Second update. It has been 1 week since I first made that post here, and it feels as if centuries have passed in mere 7 days. A lot has happened, and I feel a kind of numbness and dullness. So, as most of you expected, my husband and I are getting divorced. His ex, who has kidney failure and is on dialysis, did not reach out only because she needed help. She reached out because she wanted him back. Her illness is real, but her intentions were not. She eventually admitted that to me directly. And she was quite blatant in this regard. Maybe her illness has made her irritable and scornful, but that's how it was. Right now I feel strangely calm. It's not unexpected, but I'm still unable to process how a man can leave a decade-long relationship with 2 kids like this, with zero visible regret. My parents are with me, helping me stay steady for my twin boys, who just turned 3. They are too young to understand what is happening, but they keep me grounded. After everything came to light, my husband admitted that she was the one who ended their relationship years ago because she thought he lacked drive and stability. He never really got over her. Seeing her again, fragile, vulnerable, and remorseful, reopened old feelings he had never dealt with. And in my mind, I was like, jerk, you could have admitted it from day one instead of gaslighting me. But I guess I was just speechless there. I actually met her by coincidence 3 days ago. My husband had been visiting the hospital frequently, and one afternoon he forgot his insurance file, which also contained some of our joint investment papers. Since I was disentangling things from him in the background while waiting for my parents to come and giving my marriage one last chance, I went to collect it from the administrative office at the dialysis unit. The dialysis unit was tucked in a quieter wing, separated from the main outpatient block. Outside the renal chamber, there was a waiting area. I was standing there waiting for the administrative officer to bring out the insurance file when she appeared with a nurse. She recognized me right away, and before I could even introduce myself, she told the nurse to give us some room. The nurse was hesitant to leave an immunocompromised patient, but she insisted on a couple of minutes of privacy. Then she asked me, "You're his wife, right?" I swear to God, I had never met this woman once before, so I don't know how she recognized me at a glance. I said, "Yeah," and she asked me to sit down for a moment. Then she said, "I was planning to bring this up gradually to you, but it's better we met here. I guess today or tomorrow you would have to know this. There's no use beating around the bush, so I'll come straight to the point. I know you probably think I'm intruding, but I never stopped loving him." I was like, what the actual hell? No way this is real. And in reality, she was married to another man for a while, who I guess died in some accident. So it's not like she was some cinematic protagonist spending her life single, pining for my jerk of a husband as she was making it sound. She said, "I was the one who ended things, and I regret it deeply. I just want to be with him again, even if it's only for whatever time I have left." I swear to the Almighty sitting above 7 heavens, I'm not exaggerating a single word. These were her exact words. I left the file counter without saying anything. In the side corridor near the elevator lobby, I would have burst into violent sobs had there not been nurses and other people moving through there. When I got home and told my husband what had happened, he did not deny it. He said he couldn't help how he felt and that being around her made him realize he still loved her. At that point, I didn't think I had anything else to say. I will now be a single mother of twin boys, and honestly, I'm fine. I earn much more than my husband, and the house we live in is entirely my property. The apartment is in the Southern Academic District, not far from the old university campus where I teach. It's a 3-bedroom flat on the 4th floor of a quiet residential block. I bought it 7 years ago when I was promoted to associate professor, using my savings and part of a research grant I had received for curriculum development. When all this came to light, I asked him to leave, and he did. It wasn't a dramatic fight. I told him calmly that if his heart was with her, that's where he should go. There is no legal obstacle in it. He had contributed little to the mortgage or maintenance, and the property was always mine. He did try to bring up that we're intertwined financially in other ways. Honestly, even if it's a partial entanglement, what complicates things now are the shared investments and educational funds we set up for our twin boys. We have a joint mutual fund account, a children's savings bond, and a small commercial investment in a co-working space near the railway junction. The co-working space investment is another area of dispute. Although the capital came from me, the business registration lists both our names for tax convenience, which was his idea. Now he's attempting to claim half the profits from the current lease cycle. My lawyer has filed for a forensic accounting review to prove the monetary trail originates from my personal savings. This is looking exhausting in theory alone, and there are a few more entanglements that would be too much to type. Not to mention the legal proceedings for divorce, which we haven't started yet, and the custody issues still to come. Wow, the dying ex is a trash human, but your soon-to-be ex is one as well. I guarantee after she dies and he grieves, he'll try to crawl back. Screw that. Out of curiosity, do you guys have mutual friends who are taking his side in all this? Not yet. People outside home are unaware of our divorce. We haven't started our official splitting process yet, and we have very few mutual friends, at best acquaintances. I'm a pretty private and introverted kind of person, and my entire circle is from my university. Teachers, researchers, students, and his circle is completely different. Edit. I would like to share my reflections and lessons. Emotional infidelity is real. Do not let anyone convince you that being someone else's caretaker or emotional anchor is simply helping. When your partner begins to show up for someone else in ways that belong within your relationship, it becomes emotional cheating. It starts quietly, under the label of compassion, but it erodes trust just as surely as any affair. Illness does not erase boundaries. I have sympathy for anyone who is unwell, but compassion does not mean allowing someone to disregard the limits of your marriage. Being sick does not make a person's motives pure, and pain does not grant them moral permission to cross into another person's life. And just because a person is ill, it does not mean their intentions are pure or that they automatically become nice humans. You can be kind and still say no. I offered fair and humane alternatives, such as arranging professional nursing care and contributing financially. He wanted personal involvement, the kind that blurred emotional lines, and that was never acceptable. Refusing such involvement is not cruelty, it is clarity. Boundaries protect dignity. You can show empathy without surrendering your self-respect. It is not selfish to insist on peace within your own home. The people who call it insecurity often fail to understand that boundaries are the foundation of mutual respect. Affiliation with exes is a danger zone. No matter how many years have passed, feelings can resurface anytime. In fact, nostalgia and distance make things even more of a slippery slope. In my case, it was 1 decade. You cannot stop cheaters from cheating, but you can save yourself from being a pawn who is being played. And the most important thing, people, please be financially independent and keep your financial affiliations as separate as possible. The only relief I have in this mess is that I earn a good amount of money and have side ventures. Outside academia, I have a few side ventures that help keep me financially stable and mentally occupied. I co-own a small academic editing service with 2 colleagues from the department, where we review research papers and grant proposals for independent scholars. It started casually during the lockdown and now runs steadily, bringing in a decent secondary income. I also rent out a small studio flat. The rent covers most of the expenses related to my boys. My salary as a professor covers the essentials, but the side ventures keep me secure. They allow me to make decisions without fear of losing footing. That is the one thing this entire experience has reaffirmed. Independence is not only emotional, it is structural. I'm not sure what the laws are where you reside, but does he have a claim to half of your earnings since you make more than him? He's in for a rude awakening when he realizes the fairy tale love story is nothing but that, a fairy tale. The fog he's under will eventually lift and his pathetic self will come crawling back to the safety net you've built for him. He's still a loser, and his ex will most likely figure that out soon enough, if she doesn't pass away before that happens. No, alimony laws don't work like that here in my country. He would not have any claim on my hard-earned money. It's just the investments we've done together or the financial fronts where we are entangled. That's a mess that will take time to sort properly. I will be putting up an update when I'm done handling these things. Now for the last update. I filed for divorce today. 4 years of dating, 5 years of marriage, twin boys who are 3, and a husband who decided to go back to his ex. She came back into his life because of a medical issue, and he turned into her caretaker. I drew boundaries. He called me insecure. Now it's over. I'm a professor and I earn well. My house is in my name, so at least that's clear. But the rest is tangled. There's a small joint property near the railway station and some mutual funds for the kids' education that both our names are on. It's exhausting sorting through all of it. I'm not falling apart. I'm functioning, working, raising my boys. But it's lonely. I've never been the kind of person who keeps a big circle of friends. And right now, that silence feels heavier than usual. My parents are here, but they're with the kids right now, and how much can I burden them with my emotional turmoil? I just wanted to vent it somewhere. Last story. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to make dinner according to my husband's work schedule? I am a stay-at-home mom of 4. My husband pays for everything, and honestly, he's kick-ass in all aspects. 0 complaints at all, so this post will be short. Up until last month, my husband worked overnights. He would leave at 2 p.m., get home at 2 to 4 a.m., heat up the food I prepared for him, sleep, rinse, wash, repeat. Well, he switched to days, so now he leaves home at 6 a.m. and is supposed to get home at 5 p.m. But 90% of the time, he doesn't return until 6-7 p.m. It's job-based, basically. I have habitually started to cook dinner at 4 p.m. every single night for the past 8 years. If it's a quick meal, I start later. I have dinner on the table no later than 5 p.m. This gives our children enough time for their bellies to settle, schoolwork to be done, showers to be had, etc., before their bedtime at 7 p.m. for the young ones, and 8 to 9 p.m. for the older two. With my husband's new schedule, he has asked that I start preparing and making dinner at 5 p.m. and have it on the table when he gets home so he can enjoy a fresh dinner, not heat it up. He has asked that I watch his location and see when he arrives back at the shop. And that should determine when I start making dinner, because it takes him an hour to get home from the shop. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to disrupt our kids' schedules to accommodate this? As stated, sometimes he doesn't even get home until 8 p.m. He said, obviously on those days, disregard. Just check my location. And if I'm not back at the shop by 5 p.m., just cook dinner and feed the kids. But that would mean the 2 younger kids only have an hour for their stomachs to settle. I was a pediatric nutritionist prior to this, so I know this isn't a healthy pattern, and it bothers me a great deal. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to switch everything for his schedule change? I have offered to cook him separate food when I see him leaving work, but he wasn't okay with that. He says I do too much as it is, and doesn't want to add to it by creating another task for me. As stated, he's a great man. Edit. Okay, found one flaw in my husband. He does not eat with the family. Not once in 12 years has he ever eaten dinner with us. He eats in silence. Silence from kids' questions and conversations, and relaxes. So he eats in his office and comes out after dinner to hang out. I don't mind. The kids don't mind. They aren't big talkers during dinner either. But this is not a way for him to eat dinner with the family. He literally just wants fresh food. Not the a-hole. You and the kids have a schedule that works. 6 p.m. or later supper really leaves things in a crunch for bedtime routine and wake up for school the next day. Plus, he isn't even willing to text you a heads up. He expects you to repeatedly check his location while also managing 4 kids' after-school routine? Just no. I might compromise and have supper ready for 5:30 or 6 as a static thing, but this will involve rearranging your afternoon and evening routines. But playing check where my husband is every single afternoon? No way. I'm sure, as someone else who had 4 kids at home some years ago, you have more and better things to do with your late afternoon time. Particularly since he doesn't even want to eat with the family. So he wants them to wait to eat, then grab his dinner and say bye and go to his office? Just no way.